All right, so everyone's talking about the AI gold rush, right? It feels like every day there's a new startup that's going to change the world. But here's the thing, there's a dirty secret lurking just beneath the surface. A really big problem that could lead to a mass extinction event for a ton of these new AI companies. Let's get into it.
Wow, okay. That quote from Forbes really hits home, doesn't it? A countdown to obsolescence. This isn't just business talk. We're talking about a ticking clock for literally thousands of companies. So what's the deal? What is this fatal flaw? What on earth is an AI wrapper?
Okay, so here's the simplest way to think about it. An AI wrapper is basically a company that takes a super powerful AI brain, like the one inside ChatGPT, and just puts a pretty new face on it, a new skin for a very specific job. The key here is they don't build the brain, they just rent it. They make an API call. And look, on the surface, that sounds super smart, right? It's efficient, but it's also what makes them so fragile.
So you gotta wonder, right? Why is this happening? You have all these president people, super smart founders, and they're all building these businesses on shaky ground. Well, it all boils down to one simple fact. It has become ridiculously cheap and easy to start an AI company. And that, my friends, has kicked off what you could call the Great AI Clone War. Just look at this number. Seriously, 10 cents for 1 million input tokens. To put that in perspective, that's like processing hundreds of pages of text for pennies. The barrier to entry hasn't just been lowered, it's been completely obliterated. We're talking about power that would have cost you millions of dollars in R&D just a few years back. And now it costs less than a cup of coffee. It's insane.
And what happens when the cost to build is basically zero? Well, you get this. A market that's just flooded with clones. I love this phrase one analyst used. One startup with 10,000 skins. Think about that. They all have different logos, different websites, different marketing, but underneath it all, it's the same engine, the same API call. It's literally one brain wearing thousands and thousands of different hats.
And hey, if you think we're exaggerating, get this. In a single week, 73 different companies launched an app to let you chat with your PDF. 73! That's not innovation, folks. That's a traffic jam on the information superhighway. And this massive pileup leads us right into the core problems with this whole wrapper model.
Okay, so let's get into the guts of this. We're going to break down the 3 fatal flaws that turn these wrapper businesses into ticking time bombs. And just to be clear, this isn't some academic theory. These are real market forces that are knocking companies out of the game right now.
All right, flaw number 1. It's a direct result of that clone war we just talked about. It's called consumer choice overload. You've probably felt this yourself, right? You're faced with what feels like 100 nearly identical options for something. And what happens? A weird thing kicks in. Your brain just freezes. You don't pick the best one. You often just give up and pick nothing.
You know, there is this classic study that explains this perfectly. It's called the jam study. So researchers go into a grocery store and set up a tasting booth. On day 1, they put out 24 different kinds of jam. And yeah, a ton of people stopped by. It was a big attraction. But here's the crazy part. When he looked at the numbers, out of all those people who stopped, only 3% actually bought a jar of jam. 3%. The next day, they did the same thing, but this time they only put out 6 flavors. Fewer people stopped, sure, but of the ones who did, 30% of them bought jam, a 10 times higher conversion rate just by offering fewer choices. That is exactly the paralysis happening in the AI market. When you see 73 PDF chat ops, you just close a tab. Okay, if choice overload is bad, this second flaw is downright terrifying. It's called platform encroachment. Here's how it works. The big guys you're renting your AI brain from, think OpenAI, Google, they're not just your suppliers. They're also your competition. And they are watching. They see which wrapper ideas start to take off, and then they just build it themselves. They roll your killer feature right into their main product, and poof, your entire company can become worthless overnight. We saw this happen with Jasper AI. Their valuation got hammered after a ChatGPT update. It's the ultimate risk. It's like building a beautiful mansion on land that you're just renting, and the landlord can evict you with zero notice. And that brings us to flaw number 3, the brutal reality of winner-take-all dynamics. In the world of AI, it's not enough to be good. You have to be the best. Because of how this technology works, with network effects and massive scale, all the value, the money, the talent, the data, it all gets pulled towards the very top. It's like a black hole. The big players aren't just winning, they're creating this massive gravitational pull that makes it impossible for anyone else to catch up, leaving just scraps for the thousands of little guys fighting it out at the bottom.
Okay, so it sounds pretty bleak, right? The wrapper model is basically a trap. But here's the good news. The AI gold rush isn't over, not by a long shot. It just means the game has changed. You have to play smarter. So now we're going to shift gears. We've talked all about the problem. Let's talk about the solution. This is the survival playbook. This is how you build an AI business that actually lasts.
The whole game is about building what investors call an AI moat. Think of a castle moat, right? It's that deep, wide ditch of water that protects you from invaders. In business, it's a defensive barrier that stops you from getting cloned or wiped out by the big guys. And this moat has 3 core pillars. 1, get your hands on unique, proprietary data. 2, be really, really smart about the tech you use. And 3, completely flip the script on how you charge your customers.
All right, let's dig into each of these. Think of these as the new rules of the road for building a real, defensible business in the age of AI. First up, proprietary data. And this right here is probably the most important slide we're going to look at. The big AI models, the GPTs of the world, they're trained on the public internet. But get this, that's only 2% of all the data out there. The other 98%, it's what they call dark data. It's all the private, internal, unique information locked away inside companies. That is the real treasure chest. If you can build an AI that taps into data that OpenAI can't see, you can generate insights that they can't possibly replicate. That's your moat. Okay, strategy number 2. You have to totally rethink the old buy versus build debate. For decades, the thinking was, if you want a competitive advantage, you have to build your own tech. But with AI, that's actually terrible advice. The field is moving so blindingly fast that if you spend 2 years building your own model, it'll probably be obsolete the day you launch it. So the smarter move is to plug and play. Use the best-in-class models that are already out there and focus all your energy on the parts of your business that are truly unique, like that special data we just talked about.
And third, this one is a real game changer. You have to innovate how you make money. Look, software pricing has been on a journey, right? Back in the 80s, you bought a license in a box. Then, in the 2000s, everything became a monthly subscription. Then, we moved to paying only for what you use. Each step got us closer to the customer's actual usage. But AI allows for something totally new.
The new model is called outcome-based pricing. For the first time, because AI can produce real measurable results, you can tie your price directly to the value you deliver. So let's say your AI helps a factory run more efficiently. Instead of charging them, say, $1,000 a month, you charge them 10% of the money you save them. See how that works? If they win, you win. Your success is completely linked to their success. Now that is a business model that customers love and competitors can't easily copy. So you take that unique data, you make smart plug-and-play tech choices, and you wrap it all in an outcome-based revenue model. When you put all those pieces together, you're no longer just a fragile wrapper. You're building something much, much bigger. You're building an ecosystem.
Let's just quickly remember what we're moving away from. The wrapper model, where the entire business, its whole intelligence, is packed into one single line of code, one API call. It's simple, yeah? But it's also a house of cards just waiting for a slight breeze to knock it all down.
Now, let's contrast that house of cards with a fortress, a true ecosystem. And for a wild example of this, look at what the entire country of the UAE is doing. They aren't just sprinkling money on a few startups. No, they're building the entire stack. They've got a world-class AI university to produce the talent. They've got companies dedicated to turning that research into actual products. And they have a council investing in the really hard stuff, the deep infrastructure, like building their own chips. See? It's all connected. Each piece makes the other stronger. That is a moat you can't cross.
And that really brings us to the big takeaway here. That old Silicon Valley motto, move fast and break things, it kind of needs an update for the AI age. The race today isn't about being the first to market with another copycat app. It's about building something with depth, something so rooted in unique data, so smart in its business model that your competitors can't just wrap it.
And so that leaves us with one crucial question. A question for anyone building, funding, or even just working in AI right now. Take a hard look at your idea. Are you just putting a thin coat of paint on someone else's skyscraper, hoping they don't decide to repaint it themselves? Or are you building your own foundation, something with real depth, something that will last? The choice is simple, but it's everything. Are you building a wrapper or an ecosystem?